Well, hello. Today, your Uncle Larry answers the question, what's the deal with my love of traditional country music? It is true that since the time of the pandemic, I have been recording, then posting a different classic country song a couple of times a week. My B-Side Apostles partner Eric Boorman and I also recorded and posted 34 songs on my back deck back in 2020, and combined, our videos have garnered just shy of 1 million views on Facebook and other platforms. Now, this kind of music is a niche category, so we've frankly been a little stunned at the response. Certainly didn't expect it. If people thought I wasn't weird enough, a former rock and roll DJ with a couple of degrees in theology and philosophy, where did the singing of old country music come from? Well, answer's pretty simple. It's the music I grew up with, especially country gospel music. I started learning the guitar and singing before I was 10 years old. The music never abandoned me, although I wandered away from it for decades, only to return to it as an older adult. What I like most about traditional country music is its profound simplicity. Profound simplicity. Its basic chord structures and melodies may look rather easy, but they're not. As Chet Atkins once observed, country music is the easiest music to play badly. If it isn't in your bones, a listener or viewer can tell in an instant. It can't be faked. The straightforwardness of country music storytelling is as real as it gets. It cuts right to the heart. I'm reminded of an account of the great jazz bebop master Charlie Parker. After a concert with his fellow horn players, Charlie, or Bird as he was known, often headed to a juke joint where he would pump coins into the jukebox. He would select one country song after another. His mates, all virtuosos themselves, asked him why, and he said, "It's the stories, man. Listen to the stories." Then there's another connection between the Beatles and country superstar Buck Owens. Yes, Buck, the man who pioneered the legendary Bakersfield sound of country music out of Bakersfield, California. Both Buck and the Beatles recorded on Capitol Records in the 1960s. And over in England, the Beatles asked Buck's producer in Los Angeles to send them everything Buck was recording before he even released it. They recorded a Buck Owens song themselves, as you may recall, "Act Naturally." Both Bob Dylan and Keith Richards adored Merle Haggard. Dylan was the poet of the young urban class, while Merle was the poet of the rural working class, and they toured together at Dylan's request. And Bob Dylan often asked Merle for pointers on performing. So there are all kinds of connections between traditional country artists and musicians from other music genres. The history of country music and country gospel music runs right through so many music genres. If you haven't seen it yet, I urge you to watch the Ken Burns film simply called Country Music. If you don't know much about country music, this 8-part series just might leave you surprised. Out of all the award-winning films Ken Burns has made, and he's made so many of them, he said this one was his most personal. Now, in the end, music appreciation is a subjective thing. Either you like something or you don't. I get that. But for me, rediscovering this music and performing it for older adults has been a highlight of my entire life. And I'm saying this with no exaggeration. I say it with the greatest respect for my broadcasting career and my educational pursuits, etc. When I was getting chemo for cancer a few years ago, remember that? I lost 40 pounds. I broke my ribs in there too. And my immune system went down the drain. All this during a pandemic. It was this music that kept me from going insane. And that's why I keep digging into the archives of traditional country music and singing and posting these great old songs. I'm doing it more for me than anything else, and someday I'll stop. But I'm not ready yet. Too many great songs still out there. It's the stories, man. It's the stories.